Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Let's talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I want to know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about, let's talk about, yeah. Let's talk about Conversations with Nicole.
Greetings. Happy Monday. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host, and Conversations with Nicole is a talk show based in Tallahassee, Florida, focused on connecting the community through conversations. And today is what I call Mindset Monday, which is an opportunity for you, me, and my guests to chat about whatever it is we want to talk about. And today we are talking about intentionality and goal setting. Intentionality and goal setting. And my very special guest, coach and attorney Esquire G.C. Murray II, is going to join me today. And so I am super excited and delighted to have him with me. But before I bring him on, I want to hear from you. Where are you tuning in from? If you will, in the comments, put your city and state so we can give you a shout out. We are live on Facebook and on YouTube, and this is an interactive live. So we definitely want to hear from you. Your comments are welcome. And this is an opportunity for us to engage. It's a safe space for us to communicate with one another. So, this first Monday in December has been full of activity. I believe it is Phi Alpha's Founders Day, and my guest is a Alpha man. And he is donned in his letters, so you will see him in just a moment. But tag a friend and let them know they need to be on here. We are again talking about intentionality and goal setting. So, it's coming up on that time of year where we talk about resolutions and that sort of thing. But I think this is going to take all of that to another level, such that we aren't disappointing ourselves by missing those resolutions or not meeting the mark as it relates to that. So I see several of you commenting, and I appreciate that. My sister Shayla, good evening. She's down in South Florida, and happy belated birthday to my nephew Kai, who turned 6 yesterday. I see you, Ashley, in Middleburg, Virginia. Thank you for being here. I believe that is Mrs. Coach GC. I believe so. Thank you for lending us Coach for tonight. I appreciate that. My mom down in Miami. Thank you for being here, Ma. I appreciate you. Ozzy Daniel in Virginia Beach, Virginia, who is a clinician and a regular on Conversations with Nicole. We got Miss Stephanie Bowden in the house. Thank you for being here. Who is here in Tallahassee, and Miss Marlene Mance, who is in South Florida as well. Thank you for being here. And Ashley said, indeed. Thank you, Miss Ashley. All right. So I am going to share Coach GC's bio. GC Murray II, Esquire, DPL, a national recognized lawyer and executive coach, affectionately known as Coach GC, is a renowned figure in the legal and business community. He is a conduit to legal expertise and transformative coaching, with an illustrious career in business law and a zeal for cultivating growth. G.C. Murray stands out as a guiding force in today's complex professional landscape. His expertise spans across the creation and management of 501c3 entities, nonprofit management, executive coaching, cybersecurity law, and professional speaking. Mr. Murray embodies a holistic approach to maneuvering through legal intricacies and boosting professional development. His mission is centered around empowering individuals and organizations to enact greater change and achieve both legal and operational excellence. I love that. Y'all help me welcome Coach GC.
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on? So glad
I
to have
made it.
you. Made it to Conversations with Nicole. Listen,
Made
this
it.
brother would be in my Facebook Messenger talk about when you gonna have me on the show. When we going when you gonna let me be a guest on the show? And I'm like, well, what you want to talk about? What is it? You're an attorney. What you want to talk about? But he has some great things to talk about. So I am excited to have you here today.
And I am excited to be here all the way from Middleburg, Virginia, staying at the Salamander Resort. Beautiful resort. If you've ever been, if you haven't, you should. You should absolutely make your way up here. But
Nice.
I am so thankful and grateful to you, Nicole, for allowing me to be on Conversations with Nicole, a personal goal of mine, since we're talking about goal setting, a personal goal of mine for the last several years. So I'm excited to be here and to have a conversation about goal setting, but more importantly, about intentionality, because you
Indeed.
can't get anywhere without intentionality. So,
Indeed. Indeed. So before we dive into our topic, in the fashion that I always do, I want to know, who are you? Not what you do, but in your own words, who is Coach GC?
ooh, I'm still ill prepared for this question, right? Because
You got it.
you
You
know,
got
if if I'm a poor man's version of anything, it's my self perception. But who am I? I am the son of Judge Gordon Murray and Jadine Murray, who, yeah, my dad has an illustrious legal career, and he has been working diligently, and he's been that guidepost for me, right? So I share and I carry his legacy with great pride. And
it.
my mom is the heartbeat of our family, and yeah, I'm just so grateful for them and the person that they've made me be. My mom actually just recently won Teacher of the Year for her school, which lets you know that you know we have a family of individuals who strive to give back, public servants. And even though I went the private route, I still tried to find a way to be a lawyer who could contribute to society in a meaningful way. So I became a nonprofit lawyer, right? Because even though that's my profession, what it is I help people. I
Mm,
help people, particularly people that want to help people.
mm,
Yeah, I was born a Christian, raised a Christian, still practice Christianity, and one of the largest, overwhelming forces in my life has been my belief that we serve a God who is a God of comfort, who
mm.
comforts us during our time of need, so that when others are experiencing their times of need, we can comfort them. And so I've been incredibly blessed throughout this journey of life so far, including having an amazing wife, Ashley, who's tuned in. And congratulations to her. She just crossed AKA. So congratulations, babe. Uh, so
Nice.
that's who I am.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. We like that additional insight. Really appreciate that. All right. So my cousin Rennie down in South Florida is on. Thank you for joining us. And we have Miss Princess on with us as well, who is here in Tallahassee. Thank you for being here, Princess. So again, we are talking intentionality and goal setting. So I think the first order of business will be to probably define what intentionality is.
Excellent place to start. So intentionality, at least from my vantage point, is the action that goes after the thought.
Okay.
Now, many people will come up with a cause that they want to join, or many people will come up with a solution that they want to pursue. But intentionality is the work and the steps that you produce in order to achieve that result.
Okay. So I'm going to pause here and get our viewers involved. How many of you believe that you participate in intentionality on a regular? Let us know in the comments. How many of you participate in intentionality? Or do you just kind of, you know, go with the flow? Whatever happens, happens. You're not really putting no intention behind it. You could take it or leave it. Yeah, let us know in the comments. Intentionality. How many of you participate in intentionality on a regular? I would probably dare say that everybody does, right?
You think
From
so?
waking up every morning. Um, yeah, those who are still with us, with whatever they're going to wear, whatever they're going to eat, whatever, it could be something small. It doesn't have to be anything super grand. Because sometimes it's just those small steps. All right, so hold on. I see Miss Maya on with us. Thank you for being here. Joe Keetra's here. Thank you for being here. Tiffany, thank you for being here. All three of them are in Tallahassee. Rennie says she does. All right. Jokitra, I've learned to be extremely intentional about everything. Okay. Marlene said not consistently. All right. Ashley said yes, ma'am. Okay. Maya, I feel like I do for sure. Okay. My sister said here and there. All right.
Right.
And Prince says, I do sometimes depends on the situation, but by faith, I will take a leap because I know God has me. Yes.
My.
I know. Ozzy said, "Of course I do. You must be intentional with purpose." All right. Thank y'all all for sharing that. Okay.
Now, I appreciate that. I'm proud of your audience. You got some of the best and the brightest amongst us
I
because
do.
uh, my profession suggests that many people are honestly just experiencing life as
Mm,
opposed to truly living it. You
mhm,
know, there was a time, honestly, where we just grew. You think back when you were younger,
mhm,
and when I was younger, I just got naturally taller. I got naturally bigger. Every year, I gained a little more intellect from going to school. And
mm,
at a certain point, whenever I was done with my scholastic journey, which ended at Florida State Law, at
mm.
some point in time, I could only grow, whether it was intellectually, spiritually, professionally.
Yeah.
Uh, I could only grow if I actively took steps to make that growth happen. If I
Mhm,
actively thought through how do I get from where I am now to where I want to be,
mhm.
and putting together kind of a pathway, so to speak, to get there into that journey, to make sure not only do can I can I make sure I'm holding myself accountable, but I need to make sure I'm on the right path.
Right.
Because so many times you get on that ship, Nicole, you get on that ship and you know that you're a fantastic captain. But if you don't have a map, if you don't have a compass, you can be going a long way in the wrong direction before
Mhm.
you even know
Okay. I mean, makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. We got Miss Kiosha on with us. Thank you for joining us. She's here in Tallahassee as well. And yes, Ozzy Joe Keetra is in the house.
it.
So let's talk about that, right? So you said you can be the captain of the ship, but if you don't have a map, if you don't have a compass, I guess the wind will blow you any old where, right?
It could. Now, some now look, never say never, right? There's some gifted captains out there that can use the stars and still navigate, and there's some people that are just lucky and will end up in the location that they wanted to be in. But for many
Mhm.
of us, the truth is that if we don't add intentionality to our daily lives, to our practices, then we simply won't achieve the success that we want to achieve.
Mhm. So how would you suggest we go about doing that?
So glad you asked. All right, I got a challenge for everybody listening. I got a
Okay.
challenge for Mindset Monday. All right,
Alright.
let's go through your action matrix. Right,
Okay.
when you are thinking through what it is you want to accomplish, I want you to think through it like this. First, start out with your why. You can't get anywhere without your why, in my personal opinion, and in my professional judgment as well. Your why dictates and will provide for you when you just simply don't want to do it anymore. You're going to get to a point where your goal is going to be harder to achieve than maybe you imagined at first, right? If you're setting goals for yourself that are achievable but difficult to attain, right? At some point, things are going to happen You're going to have exterior forces that are going to mount pressure upon you, and you're going to say, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm either going to do something else. I'm going to focus my attention in a different direction, but I don't want to do this thing that I said I wanted to do. And without having a why, without knowing your why, you are kind of at the whim of whatever's happening in your life at the time. So for
Mm-hmm.
everyone, whatever your goal is, I want you to first start out with your action matrix and really codify your why. Why is it that you want to achieve this
Mm-hmm.
goal? All right.
So I want to pause just to get our listeners involved. If you don't mind, in the comments, just share one of your whys. You may have multiple, but just share one of your whys in the comments if you don't mind. What is your why? It could be, a lot of times I see folks say that their children are their why. Like that's their motivator. It could be other family members. It could be, your passion or your purpose within whatever that might be. So if you don't mind, again, safe space in the comments. What is your why? What is your why? What is your why? So we got Sonia B, who is an intimacy coach with us and certified sexologist. She's here in Tallahassee.
Hey.
Thank you for being here, Sonia. And Ozzy agreed with you. Very true sayings. Very true sayings.
I know if I got Ozzy with me, I'm gonna get invited back on the show. I'm
Ah!
feeling confident now. I can get in my bag now, Nicole.
Indeed. All right. Ashley said, my son and his blessed future. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Thank you for sharing that, Ashley. My why is definitely knowing that God brought me through every once of hell his for his glory. Every ounce, I think she meant, of hell for his glory. And if I stop, I forfeit what he has in store for me, my family, and everyone connected to me. Wow, powerful.
That is a statement
Powerful.
right there. That's a
Yeah.
testimony.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Maya. All right. So, okay, while others are putting theirs together. Okay, here, Princess said, my past that seemed impossible.
Hmm.
Wow. Thank you for sharing, Princess.
Hmm.
Okay, Rennie said, I don't want to waste my God-giving gifts. Yes.
I struggle with that every day,
Do you?
Rennie, every day. That passage, the parable of the talents, where
Mm-hmm.
the three servants were given talents by the master. One got one talent, the other got five, the other got 10. And then the
Yeah.
one with one buried his, and the other ones went and invested it and brought back more to the
Yeah.
master.
Yeah.
Without intentionality, I feel like I'm just burying the talent that I was given to the
Mm-hmm.
extent that I was given any.
Ooh,
It just,
that's ooh, ooh, that's tight. Without intentionality, we are burying our talent. Mm,
so, so once you got your why, all
mm,
right,
mm-hmm.
next question has to be when.
When?
When are you gonna do it? I have been saying I was gonna lose weight the last 17 years at least. But at some point, if I don't put a specific date, and I'm talking specificity here, I'm not talking global like, and I think that's why a lot of New Year's resolutions fail, right? Because it's just this conceptual year. I'll get
Mm,
to it this year. If you are accountable to yourself and if you are intentional with your goals and with your desires, then you will have some specificity to your when. Because once you know your why, you can figure out your when, and you can really start cobbling together a plan that can help you achieve greater change. So that's the next part of the challenge, Nicole, is establishing. You established your why, but I want to hear your when for the goal that you are seeking.
all right. So Ozzy said, if I can't see 10 years, I question it. Okay.
Mm,
All right. Miss Jeanette, who is in South Florida as well. Thank you for being here. She said, my why is to help people income families, middle income families, understanding their financial goals. Controlling income is important. Okay, very good, Miss Jeanette. Thanks for sharing. My mom said, living fully and setting a meaningful example, and you have done that, mother. Thank you.
amen. Amen.
All right. We got Miss Rakenya R.J. Henson. She said, "My why is living out the legacy of my grandmother." Ooh, that is that's a tall order, boy. You know, our elders and seniors, some of them have some very rich legacies, and so yes, I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Cody Hassan, my kids, as they are my legacy. All right, beautiful. Thank you
All
for
right.
sharing that. We got Johnny Johnson in the house. He said you have to set a deadline for achievement. Yes, Johnny. Yes.
Absolutely do. That is the only true way to hold yourself accountable.
So that's sort of like it's putting me in the mind of the SMART goals, right?
Oh, we're definitely gonna cover those.
Okay.
We're definitely gonna cover those. But before that, this is just like an action matrix. So imagine you got a sheet of paper. If you're at home and you're really tracking with me,
Mhm,
imagine you got your 8.5 by 11. Right? This is what I want you to do. I want you to make four big circles. Four big circles, each of them equal, because all of these steps are important. And in each circle, and I want the circles to take up the entire page. So it's like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Hopefully y'all are tracking with me. And in
mhm,
that first circle, I want you to put your why. All right, that's going to be your why. Fill that circle up with the reasons that you want to achieve greater change. Right, and then in the other circle is your when. Whatever the goal is, talk about when you're going to do it. Right, so maybe you put multiple goals. Maybe at the top of each sheet of paper that you're going to do, maybe you say, I want to, you know, produce another $10,000 worth of income by getting a raise, right? Why? Well, I want to do it because I want to help my parents retire, or I want
mhm,
to do it because I want to retire. Whatever the reason is, right? Doesn't matter how big, how small, as long as you got it, as long as you can codify it, write it down. Then when? I want to do that by the end of this month, the next bonus. Or I want to do that. It'll take me a year and a half or 2 years putting the steps together. Then you're going to write down your how. How do you go about achieving the greater change? And to me, this is the part where a lot of us don't really get to create that greater change that we're seeking, is because we don't have a good understanding to the how. We know we
mm.
want to make more money,
Well, we don't know
but
how.
but we don't know how to get there, right? And that's where intentionality comes from, or really truly will benefit individuals seeking change, is when you go and find out the answer to that question of how, whether
Indeed.
it's through an executive coach or it's through research, especially research, whatever it is, understanding the how you're going to do it is the most critical component to being able to actually create that greater change that you're seeking.
All right. So we got a few comments. Ozzy said you must write it
Hmm.
down. He
Yeah.
said if it's not written down, it's not going to manifest properly. It must be visualized on paper. I think there's a passage that talks about writing the vision and making it plain.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
okay. Miss Jeanette said, when I decide totally to put aside all the trivial activities. Ooh, Miss Jeanette,
Ooh,
stepping on my toes right now.
she put them in quotes too.
She is
I got a
stepping
story to tell.
on my toes, Miss Jeanette. The trivial activities. Yes. All
I'm
right.
I'm I'm gonna call her out, Miss Jeanette. I want you to put an actual timeline on it, whether
Yeah.
it's a month, whether it's 2 months, 6 months. I want you to say, by this date, I'm gonna, one, decide what activities I consider trivial, and then
Mm,
two, I'm gonna give them up, and I'm gonna give them up to pursue this greater change that I'm trying to create. That's my
indeed.
challenge for you, Miss Jeanette. So I
Okay.
think I said right, four circles, right?
Yes, I think
Oh,
so
but
too.
I only gave three. So now we're into the last one.
So
Action.
hold on, we got a couple more
Oh, we got
comments
more? All
really
right.
quick.
I'm
Yeah,
with
so
you.
we have Mr. Bill Proctor on. He said Frederick Douglass said, "Where there is no struggle, there can be no progress." Yes, that is a great quote, and I definitely believe that applies here. So I think we are kind of struggling sometimes with that intentionality piece, right?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yes, so we got Whitney Moore on. Thank you for being here. And Warren Cave is listening in here in Tallahassee. He said, driving can't comment. That's all right, Warren. You just keep listening. All right. Ashley said, using a planner is very helpful for me. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. And that can be very helpful. I am a notebook person. So I got notebooks on notebooks with notes. I'm taking notes tonight. So, mm-hmm. Princess says sometimes it's the fears. Yes, it
Okay.
can be. It can be fearful, but you know, developing a support system. If you are a person of faith, relying on that as well can help you overcome those fears, Princess. We got Miss Donna Wallace on. Thank you for being here, my classmate down in South Florida. She said her bucket 2 and 2. Yes. Write the vision, make it plain.
Hmm.
All right. Oh, and Mr. Proctor said wrong will remain on the throne as long as right refuses to fight.
Is that Commissioner Proctor?
It is.
What's going on, Commissioner? I got to give a shout out to one of your colleagues, Miss Rachel Holmes. She's just terrific. I won't go into details, but she's been a cornerstone for some of the activities that we pursue in the
Nice,
community. So I just want to commend you and commend her. She's listening.
nice, nice, nice. All right. And Cody says small wins to make the big win works for me. Yes.
All right. We're
Yes.
gonna talk about that in a little bit. That's a perfect segue to that last circle.
Mm-hmm.
So are we ready for it? Drum roll in your heads. That last circle, if you're filling it out at home, action.
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 Okay.
That is by far the critical component to being an executive coach, right? If
Mhm.
if I can listen to you and give you advice, I'm a friend. If I can listen to you, give you advice, and give you guidance, I'm a mentor. But if I can listen to you, give you advice, give you guidance, and then hold you accountable, I'm your coach. Right?
Mm.
So action, I just came up with out the dome. Should I keep that? I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep that
Look,
one. All
you
right.
need to
I'm gonna
say
keep
that
that.
again. Hold on. Say that again.
I don't even know if I don't even know if I could. Well, I'm gonna have
Okay,
to
we'll
watch the
catch it in the
replay.
replay. We'll catch it in the replay. It's all good.
Action is what everybody needs in order to create that greater change. No matter what you do, if you don't act upon it, you won't achieve it.
Yeah.
Similar to what some of your guests have already said, right? So we
Mhm.
have to act. So I want you to in that worksheet, in your matrix, I want you to write down your action. What are you actually going to do? You already wrote down how, right? You wrote down how you can achieve your goal. Now you're
Mhm.
going to write down what steps you're going to take in order to achieve that goal.
Okay. All right. So action. That's
Biggest
the
one.
how. That's the how is, the method sort of,
Hmm.
and then the action is the actual steps, I
The
guess.
steps themselves, right? Because that's the only way I can hold you truly accountable, right? That's the only way anyone can hold themselves accountable is by having the actual steps that they are going to take, right?
Mm,
You review how you can make more money at work, right? We
right.
all know the steps. Show up to work at time, do your job, do it well. Think through the things your employer has said that they would like to see you improve on. Think through the
Mm,
things that they've said you do well at, right? And push those things forward.
mm,
That's how. But
mhm.
what are the action steps that you're going to take? Okay, you want to make sure that if my boss said that I do poorly at this thing, right, whatever it is, then I want to get better at it. How do I
Mhm.
get better at it? What are the steps I'm going to take to get better at it? Because when you can articulate the action that you've taken, then people can actually appreciate the greater change that you've made. Right? If you just say, I've gotten better at this, you told me I needed to understand this concept, I understand it better now. That's nice. But if you actually say, I've done this, and this, and this, and that's
Right.
how I've improved and gotten better,
Mm,
then people can really truly appreciate that. And that
yeah,
actually helps you, accountable to yourself because now you have that roadmap and you're showing the ways you're going to follow it.
absolutely. So we are just at about halfway through our
Flying.
conversation. I know, I told you it was gonna go fast. So for those of you who are just joining us, we are talking about intentionality and goal setting with Coach GC Murray II. And we have just finished talking about how we can become intentional. How we can become intentional. So, one, determining what your why is. Two is when are you going to do whatever your
Mhm.
why is. How are you going to do it is the third thing. And last but not least is action, the steps to getting you there. So I see that my friend Susan has joined us from Hampton, Virginia. Thank you for being here. And Ozzy said, good points. Good points. So Ozzy is co-signing to all of
Need
these
that.
great things we talking about, right? We got Esquire Nikki Parker on with us as well. She is here in
And
Tallahassee.
counseling.
Yeah, so thank you for being here. All right, Whitney said, run that back. All right, I'm gonna let you do it, GC, Coach GC. Let them know. What are those 4 steps again?
All right. So in your action matrix, right? You're gonna have your why, right? Why are you trying to achieve this goal? Whatever the goal is. So at the top of that page, write down that goal. Then in that first circle, I want you to write down your why. Right? After you write down your why, write down your when. Give a tangible date when you want to make that change, when you want to achieve whatever the goal was that you wrote at the top of that sheet. Then, of course, you're going to write down your how, right? You're going to list out the different steps you're going to take or theoretically need to take in order to improve. But then you're going to talk about your action, right? The action is the critical component of all of this because if you don't have action, you won't have change. All right. So those are your 4 things: why, when, how, action.
Why, when, how, action. All right. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Now, I know we're talking intentionality, which is different from resolutions.
Mm-hmm.
Different from resolutions. But, life is lifing, right? Even though Miss Jeanette talked about putting away the trivial things, the trivial
Mm-hmm.
activities, right? She said I totally decide to put aside all the trivial activities, but it's a lot of trivial stuff coming at you like on a
Mm-hmm.
regular every day. The trivial is present and accounted for. So sometimes we fall off the wagon in terms of, sticking with our intentionality. So what suggestions would you give around that?
I have a course for lawyers that are launching their own law firms called Leap, and I did for part of the module on mindset. I did a kind of a interview with Dr. Tressa Stiles out of Florida and Georgia, and
Mhm.
Dr. Stiles said something to me. It was a bar, and she said, "You can't pay yourself with the remaining scraps." And I was just like,
Ooh.
well, what are we talking about here? Well, I said what y'all said. Run that back. And she said, you have to pay yourself first.
Mm,
Everything else can get the rest of you, but you have to take care of you first. And to me, what she was saying and what she ended up articulating is you have to focus on your intentionality for your goals. Those are your things that you are identifying as ways to create that greater change. No one else is telling you to do these things. You're telling you to do these things. So don't put these things on the back burner so you can accomplish other people's goals for them, right?
mm,
Put yourself first. Accomplish
mhm.
your goals for you first, and everyone else and everything else can get what's left. And you'd be surprised that there's not more than enough for them.
Mm. Wow.
I got to give it to Dr. Styles. If she's listening, she's
He said you can't pay yourself with the remaining scraps.
mhm.
That's yeah. That's definitely a word, definitely a gem for this evening. Uh Susan suggested an accountability partner.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. My wife's my accountability partner. So having one, having a person that you trust, that you can be authentic with, and I'm talking about in the deepest parts of yourself where you don't pretend anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The person that you're comfortable with in that space, that should be your accountability partner. Because There are going to be times in life where life, as you said, Nicole, life be life,
Mhm.
and if you don't have someone who can understand that and can be empathetic with you, um, then there, it'll shift from being protective and pushing you to just pushing you over.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. Cody said, "Wow, nice, good stuff." And Ozzy said, "Tough, but it's so true."
Mhm.
Indeed, indeed.
And Mr. Hassan, a good brother of mine, good alpha brother.
Okay,
He
nice.
actually, before that, he talked about how he sets up small wins for big wins, right?
Mhm, mhm,
And that actually is a perfect segue to how you prioritize. And
mm,
hopefully, this is responsive to your earlier question. How do you
okay,
prioritize what to do, right, in order to
yeah,
create this greater change that we're talking about, right?
mhm,
So again, if you look at that action matrix, and then you made something that looked exactly like it, right? So
mhm,
the small circles, so the big circles, so four of them on a sheet of paper. You
yeah,
write your goal at the top, and then I want you to write down your quick wins. What are the things you can get done easy? Cake. Things that
mm,
you can actually tangibly do so you can say, I moved the ball forward, right? Because we need those quick wins. Those quick wins are like little doses of endorphins hitting us, allowing us to feel better about what we are trying to accomplish. Um,
mhm,
so, so those quick wins truly enable us to feel better about what we are doing. They allow us to say, I can do this.
mhm,
Because if you start with the hardest task first and you can't get it done, then there's a good chance that you're going to end up suffering from Mount Everest syndrome, which I'll talk about a little later.
alright. Say that one more time because we had a little technical blip.
All right.
So so the small wins, that's what you, encourages you along the way, right?
Yep, absolutely. Because with those small wins, it gives you belief, it gives
Mm,
you hope that you
mm,
can create this greater change, right? It allows you to understand, like, hey, I can get this done.
mhm,
I will get this done. By the little wins. They're almost like little steps you're taking right before you start to do a full sprint. But if you
yeah,
just come out the gate and you try to full sprint and you haven't sprinted in a while, you're liable to hurt yourself, right?
mhm,
So this is the small steps, the quick wins, the little things you can do that you can absolutely you know do to help you move forward in the direction of creating that greater change.
yeah, indeed. So Johnny wants to know, do you assist CPAs with their practice?
Yeah, absolutely, Johnny. We could talk offline, but yeah, absolutely. Any business owner who's looking to figure out what they can do as an executive to improve
Mhm,
their business, improve morale, improve revenue, all different sorts of um, exercises in learning. Almost, I can assist with.
indeed. Okay, wonderful. Marlene said, trying to step into my purpose. All right.
Mm, you and me both.
Uh-huh.
You and me both.
Mhm. And I would just say also, don't give up on that because I think sometimes we have in our mind that it has to be a set kind of way. And if it's not how we envisioned it, we get discouraged.
Hmm. All the
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
All the time. But at least my life has been such that if I don't get it the way I think I'm supposed to get it, God has it better for me in some form or fashion.
Yep,
And
that's it.
so I just come to trust in that, and then that allows me not to stress when I don't get it the original way. Because so many
Absolutely.
times I didn't get the job that I wanted to get, and then I turn around and get an opportunity
Mhm.
twice as good.
Yes,
And that's happened to me so many occasions that I can't say it's just a coincidence.
right. Donna mentioned momentum.
Got to keep that train moving.
Mhm. Yeah, it's something about that momentum. It's like, that energy that, again, like you said, he's keeping the train moving, moving forward. So, you know, once you get going with it, it's almost as if it appears to be easy, and maybe it
Mm.
is a bit easier once you get it going, that energy moves. And then Cody
Absolutely.
said one of the great poems is "Don't Quit" and "Invictus."
Those are excellent poems.
Hmm.
I know both of them very well. So those are truly great poems, especially when you need to lean on some source of inspiration that's outside of yourself. Those are great mantras to take in.
Indeed, indeed. So, wow, we have covered quite a bit already, but I want to, you talked about the small wins, um, to make the big ones, and accountability partners, which is another thing I think that sometimes can be very helpful. But what do you do when maybe you don't have an accountability partner? Maybe it's difficult to identify what those small wins might be. um, any other thing that you can give us that can encourage us along the way?
Yeah, I got something for you. So let's say we were still doing the four circles. Break it down like this, and maybe this will help you kind of move everything around and sort things out, right? Because
Mhm,
sometimes you can't sort unless you have a place to put stuff.
mhm.
So you got your quick wins in the top circle. Then I
Okay.
want you to have your major projects in the
Mm,
next circle.
okay.
Major projects, the things that really, if you're going to achieve this goal, this is like the critical task that you have to complete, right? This is
Mhm.
the task that's essential. Then I also want you to write down your filler task, right? And
Okay.
that's the one. That's the one. These are those trivial items that we had heard about before. But there's sometimes there are just tasks that you have to do in order to get the job done. They're not fun. They're not pleasant. But you got to do them, right. They don't seem great. There's no reward in them, but they
Mm-mm.
are critical if you want to get to your goal. And then the last thing, and this is the one that I personally think stops a lot of people from
Mhm.
creating greater change, and it's a thankless task. So write down the tasks that you have to do in order to achieve the goal you stated that you cared about, right? That no one's gonna give you praise for, right? Those thankless tasks. Because if you can write them down, then you can do them, you can accomplish them because you're gonna see them not as thankless anymore, even though they are. You're gonna see them not as thankless. You're gonna see them as steps in your process and in your progress going forward.
So listen, the thankless task for me is managing that budget every month.
Hmm.
So looking at the income and the expenses and going through all of that, it's like, ugh, I did not enjoy this at all.
It's not fun. It's like Drake said. There's no rewards for that.
Now the CPAs, they probably get a kick out of that. It's just not my idea of a good time.
Yep. I know we got John. Johnny's probably messaging right now saying, "Man, I love budgets and accounting. What's
Right,
wrong with
right,
accounting?"
right. What's wrong with you? I can't do
Mm-mm-mm.
it. Listen,
But
I
there,
can do it, but it's to me quite, tedious. And it's again one of those thankless tasks. I
yep,
would much rather be having a conversation with somebody.
yep. And they give awards for conversations with people,
They
but
do.
they don't often give awards for having a balanced budget. Right?
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
having a balanced budget ensures that you're sustainable, which
Mm.
ensures that you can continue having conversations with people.
Absolutely.
And that's why
Absolutely.
it's critical.
That's
All right.
it. You
So
see how
when you
you
don't
worked
have,
that out? You see how you brought that on around?
hey, I'm tracking. I'm tracking you. I'm working. But you had asked a question earlier, and I do want to make sure that I touch on it. For those of us who aren't blessed to have an accountability partner, in
Mhm.
those cases, you know, the most helpful hand is the one that's going to be at the end of your own arm, right?
Mm.
You have to become your own accountability partner, and
Mm.
the best way to do that, and you've heard it from several of the guests before me, and you've heard it from actually some of the audience members today, is to
Yeah.
write it down. You
Mhm.
got to memorialize whatever the task is. You got to memorialize the steps. You got to memorialize the ideas and the things that you want to accomplish, and you have to be able to visualize them so you can check them off. If you could start making steps right? You got your grand goal, and then you got your steps. You can then start checking those things off. And
Mm,
a cool little visual component is if you do the red, yellow, green, um, put all your steps in a a rectangular
mm-hmm.
device or anything like that, and just the ones you do well, put them green, or the ones you accomplish, make them green. The ones that you're working on, make them yellow, and the ones you haven't done anything, make them red. Right. So when you're visually looking at things, you can see your progress, and
Right.
that helps you more become more accountable if you don't have a accountability partner.
That's good. That's good stuff. I mean, so you have given us some definitely some tips, some tools, some techniques that we can carry with us as we seek to be intentional and do our goal setting. So Johnny just said that I need a CPA. Right. Ozzy said it takes half your life before you realize it is a do-it-yourself
I
job.
like that. I like that.
It is a do-it-yourself job. Yes. And so you have to be motivated. You talked about being your own accountability partner. There's a Mr. Derek Standifer talks about remaining or being committed to your commitments. And so yeah, you have to encourage yourself and do those things, right? Even
Absolutely.
yeah, even those tasks that are thankless and not your
Thankless or the filler task. Yeah, you gotta do those with the same vigor
mm,
and the same excitement as you do the other fun ones.
yes,
That's the people that can accomplish that. They go on to do the greatest of things,
they do.
right? Those people that attack everything with the same desire and passion. Those are the individuals that will inherit the earth, man. Those are the people that truly are gonna create greater change. But
Absolutely.
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking about, possibly one of the ways to do that, like you said, they take on those thankless tasks or the filler task with, a sense of enthusiasm. It's just part of the process, and so we gotta trust the process, right?
Mhm.
And so maybe
Exactly.
turn it into something that is more fulfilling or fun for us such that it won't we won't have the mindset that I got this dreaded task that I got to do that I can't stand. But if we look at it as something to get us to that goal, and make it fun, or maybe give ourselves a treat once we complete that task that we normally would deem as something that is unfavorable or negative, then that'll help us move along. Um, so wow, wow, wow,
Absolutely.
wow. So this is really great. Like I said, y'all, this conversation has and not that I didn't know these things, but it's definitely some great reminders, and it's stepping on my toes because I do have some things I need to do.
Then I got one last one that I promised I would touch on later, and I want to be a man of my word, and
Okay.
that's Mount Everest syndrome. Are you already familiar with Mount Everest syndrome?
Mm-mm.
All right. So you woke up one day, you told all your friends, you gathered everyone near and far, and you said, "Everyone gather here. I am going to climb Mount Everest."
Mm.
And what happens when as soon as you say, "I'm going to climb Mount Everest"? What does everyone say? Yeah, it's amazing. Man, you're gonna climb Everest? That's crazy, man. Go do it. You got this. I believe in you. Good stuff, man. Because people want to see you have big goals, right? People want to see you achieve your biggest goals. But climbing Mount Everest is hard. So
Mm.
what happens to the most of us? And I'm talking the majority of all of us. We never climb Mount Everest. And what do our friends say? The ones that we gathered from near and far, they say, it's okay. It was Mount Everest. Don't get caught up with Mount Everest syndrome. Don't create such a dynamic and difficult and large task that is so large that you'll forgive yourself if you don't accomplish it. You'll forgive yourself if you don't attempt it because it was just such a monumental task in and of itself. You're cheating yourself and you're cheating your progress because the true work lies in steps, right? The true work lies in creating goals for yourself that you can actually achieve. So, for example, if you start your New Year's resolution, you say, hey, I'm going to have a six pack. The level of body fat you need, Nicole, from what I'm understanding, is a ridiculous level in order to have abs, right? What it takes for the normal human to achieve that is beyond the pale for most regular people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most regular people. And so if you go out there and you're, larger than normal, and you say, hey, you want to have abs, but you don't have the steps in place, people are going to encourage you. They're going to say, yeah, go forth and do it. But if you don't do it, they're going to forgive you because, man, it's hard to have abs. It's hard to be in shape in that particular way. So
Mm-hmm.
you can't, you cheat yourself if that's all you say. All you say is you want to have abs. But if you layer out steps, and I don't want people to take this and not have big goals, I
Mm-hmm.
want you to have goals in between the big goals. I want you to, in addition to saying you're going to climb Everest, I also want you to say, I'm going to climb this many miles. I'm going to do all these other preparatory things that'll put me in line to climb an Everest. Maybe I'll climb a smaller mountain before that. Maybe I will, you know, get all of the supplies and tools needed in order to be successful at climbing Everest. Because if you could do all the small steps, then you can accomplish your big goals. But if you
Mm-hmm.
just say you're going to climb Everest, I worry that it won't happen and you'll just forgive yourself and you'll continue to do it every year. Hey, I didn't climb Everest last year, but this is going to be the year that I climb it. And
Mm-hmm.
without having your why, your how, your when, and your action, it'll never get done.
So I'm glad you mentioned that because I think, as you have so eloquently stated, that happens probably a lot more than we are willing to admit, right? And so, to me, the whole Everest thing, like there's training in order to climb Mount Everest, like you said. So, now you're conditioning your body in terms of maybe what you're eating to become leaner, or you are climbing smaller mountains in order to build your endurance. You're stretching, you're, doing all of these other things. So, yeah, I really like that example. Not that you can't dream big, or have big goals, but you don't want to set yourself up for, well, it was Everest, so
Mhm.
I kind of forgive myself for not achieving the goal. So I really,
Yeah.
really like that.
If you're going to say that you're going to make $1 million next year, I want that for you. But I also want to hear you say that you're going to make 250,000, 500,000, 750,000 as well. I want to
Mhm,
hear about those steps before you just say you're going to get to the million. Because if you can just do the actual steps that'll lead to the result and
mhm,
not just focus on the result, then you can create greater change easy.
indeed. All right, Ozzy said all about application, self-discipline, and chuck it, chunk it. Okay. And then Susan said, you need attainable tasks. So
Yeah,
agreed, agreed, agreed. All right. So that kind of puts me in the mind of, like, you talk about how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, good. Well, we are about at the end of our conversation. So I want to give you an opportunity, Coach GC, to give some closing remarks and tell the people how they can connect with you.
Oh yeah. I want to thank you, Nicole, for allowing me to be here on Mindset Monday, particularly on such an important Monday to me, an ice cold December 4th. Then I'm just glad to be here. And shout out to all the alphas that are watching. Happy Founders Days, bros. Um, you have everything you need in order to create greater change already, whether you know it or you don't know it. The truth is, again, that most helpful hand is at the end of your own arm. You are the person that can help yourself make that greater change. And all you have to do is first start out with eliminating your limiting beliefs. And that goes into being intentional, right? If you stop saying, I can't, stop saying, I can't, and start saying, I am going to, you'd be surprised how far you'll take yourself. So, in addition to that, I want you to think through whatever your next goals are. Let's talk about the bigger ones, right? Not quite Mount Everest, but something similar, right? That big goal, ask yourself, what are the limiting beliefs that I need to let go of in order to actually achieve this? Right? Once you figure out those limiting beliefs that you need to let go of, these untruths that you tell yourself time and time again, that you just convince yourself, uh, these thieves of joy. Once you tell yourself that you're no longer going to be held down by those things, then you figure out what steps you have to take next. Start figuring out those next steps. And then I want you to think through what tools you'll need in order to be successful. Right? Because it's hard to just do it with just brick and mortar. I want you to focus on all the tools that you can possibly avail to yourself in order to be more successful and to get that change. And then lastly, just keep a reminder of why. So when those times are tough, when you need to stick to the fight, when your heart is hit, I want you to think through why you're not going to quit. Right? And with that, you can truly create greater change. I'm here for you. There are others that are here for you, whether we're in your direct network or not in your direct network. There are places you can go to receive nourishment for when you're feeling your weakest. There are places and sources for you to really understand and create a different mindset. I hope you'll tune in to Mindset Mondays uh, every week so you can keep fine tuning where you are and where you want to be. And that's it. Oh, in terms of how you can get in contact with me, yeah, our gracious host, who I again thank for allowing me to be on, has posted some of my information in the ticker below. So I'm happy to work with anyone who's really trying to create greater change and is ready to be accountable to themselves for
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right. So listen, folks are chiming in. My mom said, come back.
it. Hopefully she will have me. I know Ozzy was co-signing some stuff, so hopefully I can be a regular with
I
this thing.
absolutely will. So Johnny is throwing up the '06.
Hey,
I think that's maybe is it Beta News 77?
all right, Beta New in the building. Deuce Club. I'm
Okay.
Deuce Club. Todd Delta, Spring '06.
Okay, y'all speaking another language, but hey, y'all understand it. That's all that matters. All right, and Susan said, "Great conversation. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being on here." So, hopefully, you all have found this to be beneficial. Some of you have already begun to chime in, so let us know in the comments. All right, I see you. Tiffany said, "Very impactful information. Thank you. Thank you for being here and for that comment." And I want to encourage us to keep this conversation going. So please share this broadcast with someone. And if you are watching a replay, hashtag replay and let us know where you tuning in from. Marlene says, so true. All right. Thank you, Marlene. And again, John, Coach GC has mentioned that he is available to assist folks with some of their coaching needs. So again, his information is scrolling across the bottom. So definitely reach out and connect with him. All right. So Donna, very timely as we head into the new year. Absolutely. So you all are going to have a jump on everybody else, right? Set of resolutions, you all are going to be setting your intentions,
Yep.
right? Setting your intentions. All right, Ozzy, very great convo tonight. Thank you, Ozzy. All right, and the Disney Diva is on with us. She said, thanks, appreciate you.
Okay.
All right, Jeanette, Miss Jeanette, thank you. I am reducing the trivia. We know you are.
Ooh,
Jeanette. You you have already given
man.
us the 411 on that, right? The made up mind on the trivial.
I'm
All
proud of
right.
you.
Ashley, thank you again for allowing us to borrow Coach GC tonight. We really appreciate it. And again, congratulations to you on becoming AKA. So, for those of you who, again, are new to the platform, I invite you to subscribe to the Conversations with Nicole YouTube channel. We are on live Mondays and Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Monday is Mindset Monday, Wednesday is Wellness Wednesday. And these are the types of conversations that we have. And so, again, this has been really great. I have a whole page full of notes that I am going to refer to. Thank you to Coach GC, who has given us the fun 411 on intentionality and goal setting. So, y'all, I hope that you will join us on Wednesday. Wait a minute, who is this? Mom Marshall. I did not chime in, but it was an excellent word. Okay, well, thank you for
Well,
being
thank
here,
you.
Mom Marshall. That's okay. You chiming in now, so we appreciate the love. But again, let's keep this conversation going. Let's be intentional. Let's set goals. Let's, do the small wins, quick wins. And let's make it happen. Let's make it happen.
Yeah,
All right, good people. Have a safe evening. And again, shout out to the alphas in the house. And we'll
yeah,
see
we
y'all.
away.
Yeah, we'll see y'all next time. Bye.